Why don't we have the roof yet? Or the actual top side of the wall?
Holy crap, there's a lot of people running here. Oh no, I missed out on the quad kill.
Push.
Hey, what's up? You know, DICE released Battlefield 2042 with 3 real sniper rifles. They managed to make each rifle unique enough to split the player base, but which one is the best? The latest patch, however, buffed this SWS-10, making it even better than before. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As usual with these videos, I'm going to take a look at the history of the weapon, then evaluate its performance in Battlefield 2042 and how well that compares with the reality. You know, the life where you actually move around in a world full of sands and dirt. Finally, I'll share how I set up the weapon in Battlefield 2042 and why you should do the same. Sometimes, why maybe you should do something different. Finally, I'll give the verdict of how good or bad the SWS-10 really is and whether or not you should use it. Feel free to skip ahead to whatever part you find interesting using the index below. Before we get started, I just want to do the usual YouTube shoutout. If you find this video useful at all, hit that thumbs up and help other players. While at it, also make sure to subscribe so you won't miss future videos. I guess if you don't like it at all, you could also give a thumbs down. I'd probably cry a bit, but deep down I appreciate the honesty. I'll tell you directly, there is no SWS-10 sniper rifle in the real world. The name is pure fiction, made up by DICE, or at least I'm not aware of any such thing. The weapon itself, however, is too similar to real sniper rifle to disregard. I give you the Sako TRG M10, a very controversial weapon developed and produced by Sako in Finland. If you visit the website or any website of any retailer, they describe the weapon as one of the most advanced precision weapons in the world. It's a bolt-action rifle available in multiple calibers with a rather flexible system which is said to be easy to handle and change via the internal tools. The accessories of the TRG system includes ion sight for emergency use, various mounting sets for a match sight or telescopic sight, muzzle brake, muzzle thread protector, sound suppressor, various bipods and so on. The TRG system itself has been around since 1989, but the M10 was unveiled as late as October 2011. Since it was designed as a user-configurable multi-caliber modular system, it doesn't share its receiver and other technical features with the TRG line. At release, it was marketed for military and law enforcement only, and this is actually where the controversy started. You see, in peaceful Sweden, we don't all carry weapons, especially not heavy sniper rifles such as this. Yet for some reason, Sako markets the M10 as a weapon for sports and some shops sell it for hunting. The price is around 10 to 12,000 euro. Actually getting a license for one as a hunter, though, has proven quite hard, as Swedish authorities, at least for starters, thought it was improper for hunting. Well, Sweden is just a small frosty country up in the north with lots of forests and nearly no population, so let's leave it for now and go back to the military. That, after all, that is what we like with the Battlefield game series, isn't it? TRG system is widely used by no less than 29 countries for military and or law enforcement. Mostly it's the TRG-42, but the TRG M10 is used by a handful of these, mostly for elite police or military forces. As mentioned before, the M10 is a rather flexible weapon with support for multiple calibers, including 308 Winchester or 7.52x51 NATO, 300 Winchester Magnum or 338 Lapua Magnum. Changing caliber requires change of bolts, magazine foils and barrels. This probably sounds like a lot to keep track of, but it's supposedly rather easy with a very easy to follow system with symbols and colors to ensure the correct combinations. Furthermore, each ammunition type also has various barrel lengths, box magazines and more. It's also possible to manually singly load directly into the chamber. Sako themselves describes the system as a high level of configurability make the TRG M10 an extremely versatile platform. It easily converts from a true long-range precision rifle to a more compact piece of equipment. I'm just thinking, this is probably the weapon that is most similar in real life to what the Plus system is in Battlefield 2042. It's not that the rifle is produced into many different versions that support this and that, it's a flexible system itself that the user can change in the field for whatever is required for a given task. That is enough of the history. What about Battlefield 2042? Well, as mentioned before, the plus system makes a whole lot of sense with this weapon since it's modular. Of course, some changes require more than just changing a magazine in real life, but it's still pretty cool to have a modular weapon that actually can do things illustrated with the plus system. In Battlefield 2042, the bullet velocity is by default placed somewhere between the very draggy NTV-50 and the faster DXR-1 with 760 meters per second. When it comes to bullet drop, it's once more somewhere between the NTV-50, where bullets drops like stones, and the DXR-1, which doesn't have much bullet drop at all. However, it's when it comes to rate of fire that the SWS-10 truly shines, with almost 1 bullet per second. Reload time is about the same for the SWS-10 and the DXR, while it's far slower with the NTV-50. A word of warning for these numbers though, it very much depends on what attachments you have on the weapon. By identifying the strengths and the weaknesses of each weapon, you can compensate or strengthen whatever is necessary to fit your requirements. It doesn't entirely change the nature of the weapon, but it can fine-tune it to whatever you need to feel comfortable. You should also be aware that the numbers come from Battlefield Wiki, and normally I find them fairly accurate. But in this case I wonder. For instance, the damage of the SWS-10 is set to 110 up to 9 meters and then it drops to 60. But as mentioned in the patch notes of patch 4, DICE buffed the long range damage of SWS-10 light ammo from 35 to 40 when over 75 meters. Apart from it being a bit funny that DICE consider it long range already at 75 meters, these numbers weren't represented at all on Battlefield Wiki. Furthermore, Battlefield Wiki claims that the NTV-50 has 110 and no drop-off in damage. That is for a fact not correct, as the possibility to one-shot wherever on the body for NTV-50 goes away at around 100 meters or so, probably already at 75, although I haven't made any deep research of it. So keep this number with a grain of salt and be aware that changing the details of the weapon will of course affect its performance. But even so, the relative data compared to the other sniper rifles should be about right. And they reveal both the greatest strength of the SWS-10, which is the rate of fire, as well as the greatest weakness, which is the bullet drop and velocity. But it's of course trade-off and nothing is straight up bad. With the multiplier for headshot, you can always one-shot kill with the SWS-10. Usually you can two-shot kill on the body as long as you run normal ammo types. That is the same as for the DXR-1, which we typically want to compare with since the NTV-50 is a very different beast with apparent issues. I can't really continue about this weapon in Battlefield 2042 without going into its setup. The patch 4 changes only changed one part of my setup, but even as my previous setup actually gave me a negative handicap, it was still really good. That surprised me a bit, and it makes me wonder a little bit how much different parameters really affect certain scenarios, but I'll get back to that. I'm going to start with the part that I found the most important and least controlled by personal preference. I pretty much always use the extended barrel for the SWS-10, and I really think you should do too. It increases the bullet velocity at the price of slightly decreased rate of fire. Essentially, it brings the SWS-10 a bit closer to the DXR-1 in behavior. I find this necessary to be really effective at longer ranges. As options for the barrel, I have the 6KU suppressor, which allows me to be less visible, but the use is limited, especially at longer ranges. Look at it like this. Further out from the battle, there is less risk of getting discovered. Sure, someone might see you, but the big mass still has the minimap zoomed too much to see you when you're hiking at the end of the map. It's also a bit controversial to bring an item that enables you at long range, but it also restricts you with decreased effective range. I mean, it feels reasonable and fairly realistic, but I normally don't think it's worth trading damage. Just make sure your shots count instead. The final option is the tactical compensator, but honestly I still find the improved weapon accuracy a bit fuzzy. Recoil and what DICE calls weapon accuracy makes more sense when in a weapon with full auto. not so much in the bolt action rifle, so this is obviously something I rarely use. Again, the bullet velocity is a weakness for this weapon, and that is what I want to solve. Moving along to the most individual part of the setup, the sights. I primarily use the M11 6x zoom because it has great visibility, good references, and it has a good zoom capability. If enemies are too close and personal, I change to Raven 4x. I don't really like the red parts in the middle, but otherwise it provides good visibility as well. The final option for sight is the BKS 8x. Again, another sight with good visibility. The only problem for me is that I rarely need 8x zoom with this weapon. For such distances, you are definitely tapping into the parts that speak in favor of the DXR, but sometimes it helps a lot, for instance when you decide to snipe out some pesky snipers some 700 meters away or so. The ammo types for the SWS-10 makes a lot of difference as well, and I strongly suggest using the standard issue with extended mag. 14 lethal bullets equals 3 wiped squads if you're really good, or 1 wiped squad if you're a body shot bandit that completely misses every now and then. But still, 14 chances for just as many kills in an unmatched rate of fire. Remember, it does about the same damage as the DXR, but both bigger mag and higher rate of fire makes it complete beast in breakthrough. My alternative is the high power, which is said to increase effective range at the cost of rate of fire and recoil. I consider it a good option if you run low on ammo, but the increased effective range isn't that noticeable for me, but the decreased mag size and rate of fire is very noticeable. It becomes a bit too much DXR1 to the extent where the benefits aren't as great anymore, and at the same time you trade some of the strengths compared to the DXR1. Finally, I have armor piercing rounds, mainly to troll vehicles and because I don't see any other useful ammo type. With only 8 bullets in the mag, the SWS-10 has the same issue as any other armor-piercing weapon in Battlefield 2042. It's simply not strong enough to be really viable, and you have to reload at least once to finish a vehicle. It's not really reasonable to deplete more than 1 mag when you can just tap the driver's head with 1 or 2 shots. When it comes to the grips, the SWS-10 has a lot of them. I used the rattlesnake light grip before, because before patch 4 it made sense. I didn't realize it did something else until just now actually, which kind of proves just how little effect it has, doesn't it? Anyhow, the only logical choice in my mind is the BCG light grip. Improved adds accuracy at the cost of hipfire accuracy. It makes sense for a sniper at distance, doesn't it? I keep the rattlesnake light grip as an option as it has the opposite effect. However, I usually don't want to put myself into that range with a sniper rifle, so I don't think I'll ever use it. My final option, which I also never use, is the bipod. I don't see the point in making myself more static than I have to when playing sniper. In a way, the grips that provide improved accuracy when static or moving is tempting, but I don't think the effect is powerful enough. As soon as you start moving with a sniper rifle in 2042, they become very inaccurate. Normally, what you want to do is to briefly stop a fire, then move again. Having a grip that improves accuracy when moving is still not consistent enough for a sniper rifle. Some might think the NTV-50 is the best sniper rifle in Battlefield 2042. For all of you that think so, you are truly hopeless. I don't think anything I say or do can prove you different, because the NTV-50 is a super slow, super draggy sniper rifle that normally only should be used to troll people. It needs better effective range to be viable with such bad traits, but on the other hand, it would have been completely overpowered, unless it was compensated by, let's say, force very static gameplay, for instance need to prone to get accurate. That would basically be what DICE did with the anti-material rifles in Battlefield 5, which still was fairly powerful, but that static gameplay isn't really something for me. Instead, we again compare the DXR1 with the SWS-10. As the DXR has less drop and better bullet velocity, I think many will find it as the best sniper rifle for 2042. For me, it's a bit more situational. If I expect to be in situations where I can keep my distance and not be too exposed, the DXR is fine. I can kill my targets and then reload without getting too stressed. can't miss too many shots though, or the smaller mag size together with the real time will start to show. But Battlefield 2042 is a very chaotic game, and especially in Breakthrough, it can get really hectic. Almost double the mag size together with a higher rate of fire starts to sound pretty nice, doesn't it? I think many feel that the SWS-10 is quite similar to the Lee Enfield in Battlefield 5. For some, that is a relief, something they like. For others, they get this strange feeling of not knowing where the shots land and always estimating the drops wrong. If you set up the SWS-10 like I do, there isn't much drop. That is a major difference with the Lee from Battlefield 5. The bullet velocity doesn't suffer that much anymore, and you don't have to predict the movement of your target as much. It's all very nice actually, and should you miss your first shot, you can quickly correct it with fast follow-up. It's about 1 second later. Sometimes I have ended up switching between the SWS-10 and the DXR depending on the situation. With my setup, they are similar enough to not get thrown off your game, but even as every logical aspect tells me that the DXR is a better sniper rifle, given that you don't have to take out 2 squads fast, my actual gameplay feels better with the SWS-10. And on that very logical conclusion, it's time to say farewell for now. Cheers!